Hey YouTube, welcome to the channel. So today we are going to solve first bad version problem. So guys, before I begin, I would like to ask you to share, like and subscribe to my channel so that keeps me motivating to make more videos. So yeah, let's get started. So in this today's problem, the problem statement is you are a product manager are currently leading a team to develop a new product. Unfortunately, the latest version of your product fails the quality check. Since each version is developed based on the previous version, all the versions after a bad version are also bad. So let's say suppose you have n versions and you want to find out the first bad one, which causes all the following ones to be bad. So we are trying to identify the culprit in the entire process which is making the further upcoming versions as bad. So for this you are given an API which has a type of boolean which will return the version is whether the version is bad or good. So this function is an inbuilt function which is available in the leetcode. So we have to implement a function to find the first bad version. So for this, we have a constraint that you should minimize the number of calls to this API. So to further understand the problem, we have this example where you have an variable n with value 5 and version 4 is the first bad version. So they are showing us a sample stack. How did this they come up with these 4 as the first bad version. So for this problem guys, let us get into the constraint and approach. So like I said earlier, the constraint is you should minimize the number of calls to the API. So this is something that we need to take care of. Without having this constraint, we could be able to solve this problem, but understanding the constraints and trying to make your thought process align with the constraint would give you the better result. So for this, we have chosen binary search to satisfy the constraint. So let's get into the steps. So there are basically three steps. The first step is to get the mid version of all the versions available. So in the context of this problem, we have n is equal to 5 versions. Among all the 5 versions, the first step would be to identify the what is the middle version of this and all the versions. So when n is equal to 5, we have all our 5 versions. We are going to pick the mid version, which is 3. Now if the mid version is true, that means where you have this is bad version, if it returns true, then we are going to update our end pointer as a mid value. So before you get this mid version value, you need to know what is the starting pointer and ending pointer. So for this example, the starting pointer would be 1 and the end pointer would be 5. So upon the calculation, you will identify the mid version as 3. Then if it satisfies, if it returns true that third version is a bad version, you are going to update your end pointer as mid value. So once you do this, if we get to know that this mid version is actually not a bad version, then we are going to increment our start pointer with mid pointer plus 1. So that means here when you get to know that this is a good version, we are going to update our start pointer which is actually 1 with the mid value plus 1. So we are going to traverse through the right part of this entire all we are going to traverse through the remaining versions from the right side. So there is a basic takeaway to the beginners guys. So I'll talk about this once I explain the code. So so this is a simple code. So first I'm going to have a pointer like I said which is 1, and there will be an end pointer which will be the n is equal to 5, last one. Then I'm going to iterate with a while loop with a condition where 1 less than 5 in the context of our example. Then I'm going to make a calculation to get the mid version. So for that I'm going to add start and end pointer and divide by 2. Then I'm going to call the is bad version. So I'm going to check whether the mid version is a bad is it a bad version or a good version. If it returns true, like I said, I'm going to update end pointer as a mid value. Else I'm going to increment the start pointer with mid value plus 1. So once I traverse through this, at the end I'm going to return the start pointer. So let's run this code and check if it works fine. So the solution has been accepted. So I believe you are able to understand it. So the only trickier part would be to understand how does this calls going with this is bad version, and how does these pointers getting updated. So this is a better way to minimize the calls. Of course you can actually solve this problem by going through each and every version of the problem from start to end, uh, to satisfy the constraint and to have a better efficiency of the algorithm. You could use this binary search. And one of the key takeaway to beginners is to try experiment on the code. So let's say you have this calculation plot, try to see why this parenthesis is coming up, and so as you keep experimenting the code you will get to know a lot new things. I hope I'm clear with my explanation. So if you are visiting my channel for the first time, please subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. See you next time.